Oyster Stew podcast. I'm Bob Mooney, General Counsel for Oyster Consulting. Broker-dealers have many options regarding their business model and how they want to conduct business. Now is the time to assess your firm and ask some hard questions. Has your firm grown? Have you successfully recruited? Do you have capital? Can you keep up with technology? Is your current way of doing things really the best business model for you? In today's podcast, Pete Bowman, Managing Director of Oyster's Strategic Planning and Execution Team, and Dave Williams, Head of Business Development, share their insights on the options available to broker-dealers. Dave, let's get started.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, there were a lot of subjects, a lot of things, topics that we covered in that first podcast, and which this is the first of our follow-up. But I'm thinking when I think of our industry, and I think of kind of a core element that is pretty much in every aspect of it, it really is a broker dealer in some form or another that kind of binds, whether it's an advisor or an RIA or a capital markets business. There's always a broker dealer that in some way, shape, or form is involved with all of that. And you and I have been in this business a long time, and if we go back many decades, we know that that was kind of the dominant structure in our business, the broker dealer, when there were, I think, over 6,000 of them at one juncture, which is now.
And the majority, Dave, those were self-clearing, correct?
Many of them were self-clearing, at least originally they were self-clearing, and then fully disclosed clearing came to be where you could piggyback onto another firm's infrastructure. But that dynamic has changed pretty dramatically. So we've gone from 6,000 to just over 3,000, and out of that 3,000, probably 2/3 of them, maybe half of them, have actually a clearing relationship today. And out of that couple of thousand broker dealers that are out there today, many of those firms are small. They're less than $10 million in revenue, less than $1 billion in assets. And those are firms that should be thinking about what direction they are going. They should be doing some serious introspection of their organizations. And Pete, one of the things that they should be looking at right out of the get-go is, number one, have they been able to grow their firm over whatever time span we're speaking about? And number two, do they have the capital to grow, to help grow their firm, or do all the things that you have to do today to really move your business forward? What do you think about those couple of items there?
Yeah, Dave, we've been working together a long time, and I kind of, you look at it from one perspective, I look at it. I'm from the platform side of it, and I look at, those thoughts that you have you grown your business, better yet, what are some of the impediments to that growth? Has it been regulatory changes that are requiring more technologies? Has the enabling technologies in themselves changed things for you, meaning higher investments? Have you been able to keep up? A lot of people in the wealth management space, the retail brokerage space, they always talk about, we are a financial services firm, but in fact, you've become more of a, fintech firm with a lot of respect, and a lot of people shy away from that. So I think, to me, the introspection is you look at what's changed with the platforms that's enabling the platforms to help these firms grow. So if you're a firm that's questioning, I haven't grown, I don't have the capital, you got to start looking at, well, where are my partners in the industry? Where is the industry going from? Probably the one of the most critical decisions you make, which is your platform and your status of clearing, which I think gets back to some of your points, the advisor changing. To me, the independent advisor is something that gains momentum. Really wasn't thought highly of, years ago, and now all of a sudden it's burgeoning. The RIA movement, that's expanding. This is all putting, I think, hurdles for firms to kind of think about. Now, I'm speaking about it from a platform perspective. I'm speaking about it from a firm perspective. there's an advisor opinion to that as well, because I think the advisor has become sort of more entrepreneurial, trying to figure out how they can run their own business. So in some of your conversations at the advisor level and at the firm level, does that hold true? I mean, are you seeing a change with those?
Yes. So when I think about as the owner of a broker dealer or a brokerage firm, and you could be a duly registered firm or a straight broker dealer, your growth is dependent on your advisors. So you have existing advisors that you want to become more productive, and there's lots of dependencies on that. But probably to a greater extent, your growth is going to be dependent on attracting advisors from other firms. And I would say, Pete, it's a very difficult proposition if you're a smaller firm with not a lot of capital to be able to attract larger producing financial advisors from other firms. And there's some creative ways to do that, and we've recommended some of those out to a number of firms out there. But at the end of the day, it's a challenge for a small firm to grow their business when growth has to occur from attracting new advisors to your organization. And some of those dependencies you have are around your platform, to your point, Pete, that you made earlier. And, the good news is, as an independent firm, there's lots of choice available to you from a technology platform. You can create a platform that's every bit as good as a large wirehouse organization. The bad news is it's not inexpensive, and it's very difficult to keep up with unless you have dedicated resources to keeping up with it. So you can create a platform, and that's certainly a beginning point in bringing advisors over to your organization. But there's also going to be transition expenses and expectations around transition money to help an advisor move from one firm or another. You're competing with very, very large amounts of money that are being used on the large firm side of the business. So it's net difficult to grow your firm if growing your firm means I got to add additional financial advisors.
I think it holds true to the mid-market section, to the top segment of the market. We're seeing more and more and more as these top segments are being competed with by a smaller firm that can give the custom touch, the service support that a lot of these firms at the large size have a little bit more difficulty in doing. And so what I like to see is these platforms. We have some of the service bureaus right now talking about outsourcing the processing. That's the mechanical stuff behind the scenes that a lot of the advisors just assume it's anti-stakes. It's going to happen. Dividends are going to get processed. RIO is going to get processed. Now, if you mess up one of those, it's major client impact. But you see large service bureaus coming up with their own offering to take some of that off the smaller. At the same time, large clearing firms are offering a suite of technology that sometimes is just as good as or better than some of the large self-clearing service bureau firms, or owning their own back office clearance and settlement books and record system. I think it's interesting. We walk into some of these, to your point, smaller firms, and the technology they offer is better than some of the larger firms with the mega budgets, because it's so hard to move that ship. And you and I both came from large firms, and we understand when you get into the priorities of which technologies that are needed, certain things do not run to the top of the list. And so I see this lower end market, the lower revenue market, and the mid market finding their way to looking at clearing firms because of the package service. At the same time, now you're seeing these service bureaus that deal with self-clearing are trying to attract that same market to say, we can provide a package for you to get to self-clearing, own the revenue drivers of a self-clearing firm, but we're going to take all of the work and technology platform off you. I think that's adding disruption. And not to mention, we have certain broker dealers out there that are offering this outsource model where firms that were unheard of going back 3 years ago are totally giving up their BD. I think due to the change of advisors doing more of the RIA work. Now I think a lot of big firms are sitting back going, we've gathered the assets. Can I de-risk the platform side of this? Can I de-risk the regulatory side of this by choosing another BD that just wants to do my processing? So I think that whole disruption is really following what the advisors are doing. Now platforms are realizing it. So platforms are kind of the gray area. They're overlapping, whether it's a clearing firm, a service bureau firm, or an firm BD that's outsourcing that BD to a particular client. I think, there used to be a very clear line of who was self-clearing, who was fully disclosed, and who was independent. Now the line is getting blurry, and I think technology is doing that.
So Pete, you talked about a number of important things there. So we kind of have focused on perhaps you want to stay the course and continue to be a broker dealer. And if that's the case, do you have the right clearing partner with you? There's a lot less choice today in the clearing space. You probably have no more than 10 firms that you can choose from, of which 2 probably dominate the marketplace, but there's a lot of other choice out there. So if you believe continuing as a broker dealer is the right way for you to go, you should make sure that your clearing partner is aligned with the way you're thinking, can service you properly. Their technology is accessible. If you want to supplement their technology, that's easy to do. All those kinds of things that make choosing the right clearing partner firm a very important part of your process. But you alluded to there's other alternatives that did not exist even as short a time as 3 years ago. And many firms are looking at giving up their broker dealers and either going straight RIA and going with one of the RIA custodians. And there's 3 or 4 major custodians that do that, and giving up a lot of the regulatory issues that you give up when you give up your broker dealer. You also, as you said, Pete, give up a lot of the economics. There's a hybrid model out there that is kind of half in between RIA, half broker dealer, where if you have enough broker dealer business, you can put your Series 7 licenses with another firm and have the majority of your business with an RIA custodian. But I think one of the models that we're seeing most often out there is, I'll call it, Pete, affiliating with another larger firm. And when you think about the choice out there in that regard, it has changed dramatically from what it looked like even 5 years ago. So you could affiliate as an OSJ with a large organization. You can affiliate with a medium-sized organization. You potentially can be a tuck-in branch with a regional type brokerage firm that you might think of as just that, as a full service firm, and there's not really an opportunity there for you. And all of those different types of choices have pros and cons to them. And it takes a lot of analysis. It takes kind of looking at who you are and where the best choice is for not only your firm, but your advisors. It also, probably as importantly, there's monetization events with each of those types of business models, which are all very different, which can happen immediately or over a period of time, or even in some cases, there can be multiple monetization events. And those are things that, Pete, you and I have seen out in the marketplace as firms have kind of examined, well, tell me more about what this affiliation looks like, or tell me more about what I give up when I go straight RIA, or what does the hybrid model look like, or help me find the best clearing partner. We can help firms do all of those things.
Yeah. So Dave, I think, when the recommendation from our past listeners were, there was a lot to unpack here. We've just proven it again. There's even more to unpack here. When you made mention about, if you are currently an introducing firm and you're clearing through one of the majors, but you have grandiose plans on revenues, and your strategy is to get to self-clearing. Well, there are service bureaus today offering packages that can lead you on that path so that you can attain that. And there's ways in which that, even though you've never been a self-clearing firm, they can offer you a solution to get there. So I venture to guess over the next 5 years, there will be smaller firms that may try the self-clearing role when they have enabling technologies and services and support by some of these service bureaus. So I think, Dave, we need to kind of go back to the drawing board to figure out, let's start breaking this up even smaller. Let's maybe take your discussion around affiliation, and let's branch that out. And for our listeners, when you hear all of this, where do you fit? And this is something that we try to do with Oyster, is every single engagement is customized because everyone's needs, everyone's business plans, everyone's strategies, it's a little bit different. So I think that there's a lot of work that needs to go in there as far as doing the appropriate analysis to get to the decision point you need to make. And that's why we're here. And that's been exciting to me, and it's been exciting to spend 38 years and to see where we're at in the industry and where we're going. So Dave, you can send us off if you like.
Well, that was a nice send off there, Pete. I would say, Pete, the most important thing is what's best for your clients, what's best for your financial advisors, what is going to maximize the value of your organization. At Oyster, we can help you take a look at all of those different things and help you come to a good place. So thanks everybody for listening to this segment of our podcast series, and we look forward to recording the next one. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for listening. If you'd like to learn more about our experts and how Oyster can help your firm, visit our website at oysterllc.com. If you like what you heard today, follow us on whatever platform you listen to and give us a review. Reviews make it easier for people to find us. Have a great day.